Hey everyone, it's your host Damnation. Today I'm going to go over, it's going to be a video about collecting. I'm going to go over grading, card grading and stuff like that. So starting off, there's two companies, PSA and BSG, Beckett Grading, or BGS, or Beckett Grading System. I don't have any PSA, but I have a Beckett card here. It's a Brandon Nolan rookie card from BGS. It's an 8, but or 9. But yeah, there's two. So when it comes to getting your cards graded, it comes down to two companies, obviously. Any other company that does card grading isn't, to me, in my opinion, doesn't have the prestige as PSA or Beckett. And honestly, I don't think you should go with any other grading company except for those two. Now, the difference between PSA and BSG or Beckett BSG is what card you're getting graded. So like, if you're gonna do sports cards, okay, so PSA. All right, so the difference is the card type. What kind of card you're getting? Whether it's sports cards or TCGs or collectible card games, CCGs, collectible card games, just like Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and that stuff. So first, we're gonna start with sports cards. With sports cards, depends on the year of the card. So by that I mean what era the cards were made, the year of the card, and stuff like that. So if you got 90s and older, I highly do suggest going with PSA, because they deal with older cards and how cards were, set up and stuff like that. They have all that. With more modern cards, like this Upper Deck Series 2 card for hockey, I would go with BSG, due to the fact that more modern cards, as we go today, have, if you look at this looks like he's right there in front of you, you know what I mean? The way the cards are printed now, they're more quality, they're higher quality, their picture quality is higher. And Beckett, the BSG, has been dealing with that system since the early 2000s. I mean, we're almost mid 2000s now, so we're heading into mid 2000s here. Now we're getting closer to the mid 2000s, early 2000s ish. All right, so with that being said, I wouldn't get, this goes for basketball, football, and basketball too. Now with how cards are these days, this is sports cards, Beckett, I believe, just does a better job. You get, from my experience, you get more higher grades with Beckett than you do with PSA when you do. So like, take this card for instance, its centering is off, but everything else is perfect, so it would get like a 9.5, right? Because it would be a 8, or it would be it won't get a 10. It'll average out to be a 9.5 because of how, like, see here, the centering is off and stuff like that, or the cut is off, so the centering is off and stuff like that. Even though it's printed pretty much good, it's just, I don't know, that's just when they printed the guy on there, it was off. But anyways, So you, in with like with PSA, that would probably get like an 8.5 or something like that. Whereas in Beckett, you'd probably get a 9, probably get a 9 or 9.5 or something like that. So the PSA with more modern cards is more, how do I say this? There's going to be more conservative with what they give out on your cards. They're going to be more, it's more going to be more scrutinized and stuff like that. So you're going to probably get a lower grade when it comes to modern sports cards. Like I said, this goes for basketball, football, baseball, and hockey, or any modern sports cards like soccer and stuff like that. Some might disagree with me on that. You can if you want to. With my experience with getting modern cards graded, I've always had better numbers with Beckett grading system. With PSA, you want older cards, so like 90s and older, so like 90s, 80s, 70s, 60s, etc., etc. The reason being is that's how they were started as, in a sense. I think PSA started in the 90s. I think, I'm not 100% sure. So their handling of older cards, you know, and not so much like the modern cards, are much better. You're going to have an easier time with older cards getting a higher grade than you would a Beckett grading system. I have a Gretzky Beckett BSG in an 8, which I probably would have gotten a 9 if I went with PSA. Now, the only thing is, because the older it is, you don't get, or I can't remember. Anyways, okay, we'll get to that. But with, like I said, with the PSA, I probably would have gotten a 9 or an 8.5 or a 9 if I would have went with PSA. But with like, okay, so that's with sports cards. So that's with baseball, basketball, football. That's where they got their start in, was older cards, older vintage cards, older that era cards and stuff like that. So that's, you know, what I've experienced. Like I said, I don't have any PSA cards because I have pretty much all modern cards. I started collecting hockey in 2003 and on. So when it comes to card collecting, I mean, I've had older cards, all 90s. I used to collect, like I said in one of my videos, I had a huge collection of 90s cards, hockey cards and stuff like that I got that I don't have anymore because, you know, growing up as a kid, your parents, toss that stuff out. And you know, that goes with comics and stuff like that too. So I had some stuff. But another thing about PSA is CCGs, collectible card games like Pokemon and Magic. When it comes to that, you do not want to go with BSG. All right, you do not want to go with Beckett. I don't think they know what they're doing or whatnot when it comes to that. The reason being, like I said, it comes to the era of cards. Like pretty much, Magic started in 93, Pokemon started in 96, 96, 97, mostly 96. I was in 6th grade or 7th grade when Pokemon came out. The video game, I think, came out in 96 also. So, you know, whatever. So they know and have experience dealing with collectible card games. So going with, you know, if I would have, I don't have my Magic stuff here, but my dual lands, if I was to have them graded, granted, some of them wouldn't be top grades, some of them would be mid-tier, maybe 7s, 8s, stuff like that. But I do have one that would get a 9, 9.5, maybe 10. I would get that graded through PSA. I wouldn't dare sending my Magic cards or any of my, if I had like Yu-Gi-Oh cards or anything like that, you know, the best Yu-Gi-Oh cards, I wouldn't send them to Beckett. I would send them to PSA because they have that, you know, whatever. There's that, whatever. So there's also like another thing. It's cards that are based off of comics, like Marvel comics. I don't remember if anybody remembers back in the 90s they were doing cards from Marvel. They were awesome cards. I wish I still had my collection. I think my brother still has his collection. I'm not 100% sure. And so and he has a collection of really nice Dragon Ball Z cards. And but anyways, it was but I would send those cards if I was to get them graded. I would have sent them. Well, so comic books I think work well with. I don't know where to send them. I'd probably send them to PSA. I wouldn't send them to the comic book one that does the comic book grading. But that's just me. I'm not, like I said, I'm not 100% sure on how all that works with the comic book cards. I don't really have experience in it. I just collected them in binders and stuff like that. So I didn't, I just had them in the same. But anyways, I digress. But yeah, go with PSA if you want. So when we're talking about value of between PSA and Beckett, I was talking to the card shop owner where I bought my hockey cards for $200 freaking a ripoff. I asked him, hey, I have this Beckett graded or BSG graded 8 Gretzky rookie card, OPG. He said, it's about $4,000, $5,000. I'm like, okay, so what's it in PSA? Do you think it'd be worth it cracking it open and sending it? He said, oh no, it was like less. It was like 3,000 or something like that. So it was like a couple thousand less than what I would get for Beckett. So when it comes to pricing, the value, especially with modern cards, I mean, you're looking about the same price, whether it's Beckett or, Beckett or PSA. But again, like I said, I wouldn't go with PSA for modern cards. I would go Beckett. I don't know what it is about why people think PSA is the best for sports cards or modern sports cards when it's not. Like I said, if you have vintage cards from like the 90s and later, 90s and earlier, or however you want to say it, yeah, PSA is all the way. But most 90 cards aren't worth a couple hundred, or not even worth breaking 100 over. Some basketball cards are a couple $100 cards. Baseball is maybe one or two $100 cards. Hockey, there isn't any $100 cards. They're all like $50, $60. Trust me, I know from experience. Some rookies have that value, but mostly modern cards are a little bit more value. When it comes to pricing, PSA and Beckett are pretty much even keel. So I would be like, oh, why not I go with PSA? It's because you'll get like I said in the beginning, they have a better grasp of modern cards and with BSG to like properly score yours. Now PSA is getting a bunch of experience doing all these modern cards, don't get me wrong, but I think they're more, like I said, more stringent because they have that, whatever, they're more critical on the card and stuff like that, where BSG, they have like both of them, and they have like they have, why is this not focusing? So they have like corners, edges, centering, and surface. Like I said, this card averaged out to be a 9 because of, but that's what I mean. You know what I mean? Because of everything on here, I got a 9.5. They have a better grasp of modern cards. I lost my train of thought. But yeah, like I said, PSA is more, like I've seen cards at the shop when they get big slabs of, plastic for all the graded cards. I was seeing 8s, 7s, like I didn't see any 9s. I've seen a couple I've seen some 8.5s and stuff like that. There was no 10s. Maybe if they would have sent them to Beckett, they probably would have gotten more 9s. They probably would have gotten maybe 1 or 2 10s and stuff like that. Out of my entire collection of cards, I only got 2 10s. One with an unknown rookie. he's not playing, he hasn't played, and a Marc-Andre Fleury card. So, you know, out of the hundreds of cards I have, maybe thousands of cards I have for hockey, I only have 2 PSA 10s. So what's that say, right? Or 2 Beckett 10s, but they're all mostly all 9s. I have all 9s and 9 and 5s. I have maybe several 8s and a few 7s, but most of my cards are all 9s and 9.5s. So, you know, that just shows you how they deal with modern cards rather than PSA. You know, I mean, like I said, I didn't really see that many 9s in there. I saw mostly 8s and 5s, 8.5s. So like I said, they scrutinize them more. So if you're getting your cards graded, whether, especially with modern sports cards, today's sports cards to 2021, or from 2003 to 2021, or 2000 to 2021, Beckett grading system is your best option. Or BSG Beckett grading through Beckett, their grading system is your best option for the grade that you're hoping to get. You know, you have a higher chance of getting it through Beckett. Now, don't get me wrong, PSA does a great job at their stuff, but like I said, they scrutinize more because they have that. I mean, BSG knows what they're doing. Beckett knows what they're doing. PSA knows what they're doing, but PSA is more experienced with older cards, vintage cards, and they can handle that more with that kind of stuff. But when it comes to like modern cards, I don't think they have the best grading system. So that's my spiel on it. That's my collector's view on it, of how and what companies to go when you're grading. Those are the only 2 companies to get your cards graded. Any other companies, I think there's like Fanfatic or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, there's only 2 companies, and that's the Beckett and PSA. I don't know what PSA is called. But yeah, that's, like I said, that's my view on it, and you know, my experience with it and what I've seen from, you know, PSA and stuff like that, and what I've seen with what the hell is that? See that? That's just my experience. Like I said, you know, experience is everything, you know, to know what you're saying. Like I said, what if vintage cards, PSA all the way, modern cards, BSG all the way. Collectible card games, PSA all the way. Beckett, no. PSA just has the experience on it. You know, hopefully my experience helps people. You know, everybody's opinionated and stuff like that. And like I said, the way it is now with how everything is, everybody's like, oh, PSA this, PSA that, PSA this. You know, there's 2 grading companies out there. You know, like I said, from experience, I've had more success with modern cards through Beckett than I did PSA. Like I said, I don't have any cards through PSA. But I know from experience and from what I've seen and, like, you know, looked at and stuff like that, with Beckett is modern card territory. But this has been Damnation. You know, I hope you enjoyed the video. You know, so sorry, but yeah, it's me, and thanks for watching.